we actually go into a bit of detail, let me just say that these are, hands down, the best budget earphones you can actually buy. Now if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that now because I'll be giving a bunch of these away to you guys. Okay, so these are the ROC Zircon, and this review actually took me quite a long time. I actually first listened to them about 3 weeks ago. And it didn't take me long because I was unsure of what to say. It's actually because the ROC Zircons right here have once again redefined how I think earphones should be priced. You can see the silicone ear tips right here. Really high grade, very comfortable. The earphones fit in. They're not the most isolating pair, but I mean, you'll get an easy 80% of noise isolation, so they're well above average. They're pretty comfortable too, and they're not really going to fall out too easily if you're running around. The only one thing I would say is that even though the cable is really high quality, it doesn't tangle too much, there is a tiny bit of cable noise when you're walking around. So these are basically meant for stationary listening, but that can be said for about 90% of the pairs of earphones on offer. So not only do they look fantastic, but they actually feel it too. Picking them up for the first time, you feel quite a nice reassuring weight to them. Not so much that they fall out your ears or that they're uncomfortable to wear, but just enough for you to feel like they're not going to break on you. They're actually made of zircon, as the name would imply, and they have an aluminium chamber, so they're really durable. When they were made, the company actually outed a video where they showed them undergoing lots of different stress tests. They were heating them to ridiculous temperatures, stretching them, throwing them, and they withstood all of that. What's nice is that the Zircon also comes with a remote and a microphone. The remote works fine on both Android and iOS devices, and the microphone sounds pretty reasonable. I don't think you'll be able to find any other earphone at this price that will sound any better. So as you can see, towards the top of the cable we've actually got a plastic finish, and as you move further down it becomes a braided cable. The transition is quite subtle but actually rather pleasing to the eye, and both parts of the cable feel really high quality. So while the earphones excel in just about every other area, when it comes to sound, they are off the charts. When I put them in for the first time, you notice the weight of the music. It has real rhythm and bounce to it. It's light but at the same time heavy. You feel bass but also treble. It sparkles in the top notes, and the detail and the clarity is just unbelievable. I mean, it really is very special. I've listened to a lot of earphones in my time, and I've never in my life been that shocked when I heard one. To put things in perspective, I have a high-end Chord Mojo preamp connected to the Shure SE846, which is a $1,000 pair of earphones. And listening to both side by side on the same songs, it's actually not that easy to tell the difference. $12, $1,500. So in conclusion, all I can really say is that you should buy them if you need a pair of earphones. Or even if you don't, to be honest, there probably isn't a piece of tech on the planet that I could recommend more right now. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Mrwhosetheboss, and this is Insanely Cool Tech.
Number 2.
So I did a video not too long ago on the best budget earphones of 2016, and to be honest, the best ones I'd ever tried, and you guys really seemed to enjoy it, and I was thinking of making another one, and literally out of some sort of miracle, these things turned up at my doorstep. But the earphones are called the DZAT DF10, which is a pretty awkward name for something that looks and feels this amazing. I've never really said this about a pair of earphones before, but the build quality is literally perfect. Not only is it actually very strongly built, but it's extremely light, comfortable, and even with its open earphone design, it's incredible at isolating noise. It's literally a miracle. The remote and mic that's built in produce pretty serviceable voice quality. I mean, it's nothing to run home about, but it sounds fine. And while the cable is nice to look at and feels very sturdy, it does have a tendency to tangle. And to be honest, this is probably my biggest complaint about the earphones, which says a huge amount. Now the packaging and presentation was just really odd. They came in a foam insert with no outer packaging. They came with a rather nice carrying case and some spare ear tips. And then for some reason they decided to include a pen. And it doesn't end there, guys, because they are seriously practical. They're really light, and because they fit so far inside your ear, they just don't fall out while walking, and there's zero cable noise, which means I was actually even happy to take these on a run, and very few earphones actually passed that test. So these guys are now basically my daily drivers. Okay, sound. The first thing I noticed when I put them in was bounciness. These things have a real rhythm to them that, to be honest, you can't resist. You literally have to start bopping when you put them in. And then there's bass, a real nice, thick, juicy layer of bass that just adds a whole new level of richness to your music. While it won't quite satisfy the extreme bass heads among you, it's well controlled and vibrant. And then once the novelty of that wears off, there's just detail, and to be honest with you guys, there's tons of it. You can really hear a lot of what's going on in your music, and it's just really satisfying. So guys, that is pretty much the DZAT DF10. I could go on and on about the nuances of how they sound, but I think you get the idea. Costing $16.96. Well, I mean, that was the cheapest price I could find, and I'll leave the link, but you might be able to find it cheaper yourself. They just blew me away in pretty much all aspects. And guys, just bear in mind that I'm not being sponsored to say anything in this video. I wasn't sent these as free samples. I did a lot of research and then I bought them. And I honestly just want you guys to have the best tech at the best prices. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and happy listening.
Number 3.
So we've undoubtedly seen some great budget earphones on this channel, earphones costing $20, earphones costing $15, but the Remax 610Ds right here at $9.99 could change your very perception of the earphone market. I'm Mrwhosetheboss, and welcome to my full review. First thing that probably strikes you is the price. $9.99 is not a lot of cash at all for a pair of earphones, and it's amazing what the company has managed to achieve with this one. Possibly the best value I've ever seen on a pair of earphones. They are well presented, coming in a hard box with a plastic insert, a carrying pouch with some silicone ear tips, and 2 instruction manuals. Carrying pouch is nothing outstanding. It feels and looks slightly on the cheap side, but at $9.99 it's an absolute steal that you're getting one. In terms of the silicone ear tips, they're actually pretty decent too. I found them really comfortable to put in, and the fact that you get small, medium and large means they fit any size ear. That's pretty standard stuff. To look at, they are sleek and understated, which I suppose in other words means plain and bland. And I don't disagree, they're hardly the most exciting thing to look at, but that's not necessarily a problem because the fact that they're so uncontroversial just means that no one's really going to hate the way they look. And when you take into account their substantial build quality, I mean, I've been flinging these earphones all over the shop for the last 3 weeks, with nothing more than a few scratches to show for it, then all is forgiven. And what makes the 610Ds an even more interesting proposal is their fit and noise isolation. While they don't look like much from the outside, as soon as you slot them in, they're actually designed so that they cut off as much noise as possible. And the noise cancellation is so good for a passive pair of earphones that I actually nearly had a mini heart attack when I took them out and realised how noisy my surroundings were. The cable is a bit of a mixed bag. It's messy, it kinda looks like your hair on a really bad day. But on the bright side, it is tangle free, so not really sure what to make of it. The 610Ds have a built-in microphone which has above average quality for the price, and there's even a switch which transfers instantly between Android and iOS modes, which is a genius idea. On the bottom we've got a straight 3.5mm gold-plated jack. When I was testing the sound of the earphones, I tried to be as thorough as possible, so I used streamed music as well as downloaded music, MP3 files as well as FLAC lossless files, but in every area I put these through, they did nothing but impress. The best way to describe the sound is rich, and I'm going to sound a little bit weird saying this, but listening to these earphones has almost like a velvety smoothness to it. The bass encompasses the rest of the music, it sort of synergizes with it. You kind of feel this sort of soft but controlled, tight bass, and it really brings the sound to life. It also helps that detail is absolutely on fire for this price. You hear far more than you'd expect to. The Remax 610Ds actually have a very similar sound signature to the Beats Tour 2.0s, which I know are not the best earphones for the price. I mean, Beats has a terrible rep when it comes to that, but just consider the difference. $10, $150, and these ones actually do it better. So there we go guys, those are the Remax 610Ds. No, they're not perfect, but for $10, they're probably as close to perfection as I've ever seen on a pair of earphones. You're getting a robust build, you're getting noise isolation you can just lose yourself in, and a sound experience that envelops you. The cable isn't fantastic, and some might say they look a little bit tasteless, but you just cannot dispute the value for money here. Anyway guys, that's it from me for now. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then a little love on that like button would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.
And the last, make the sound better by yourself.
Have you ever thought it was even possible that for spending an extra £20 you could literally revolutionize the sound coming from your earphones? I had no idea. And then I found the ear cavity. So if you've ever been in the fortunate position where you've managed to throw down $3,000 for a pair of earphones, which I'm going to go ahead and assume most of us haven't, then you'll probably be aware of custom molding. Now, custom molding basically allows the earphones to perfectly fit your ears. It can fully isolate noise, better than even an active cancelling headset. It can make your music sound a ridiculous amount better because there's just no interference whatsoever. At £20, the ear candy tries to do just that. Let's see if it succeeds. Inside the box we have an instruction manual, a carrying case, and then 2 different colour molds. Now what's actually happening here is a small chemical reaction. Fusing those 2 bit of molds will actually start a process where the actual previous Play-Doh kind of texture will become something a lot more rubbery. So basically the first thing you need to do is just clean your hands of any imperfections and then fuse the 2 together. Spend about 2 or 3 minutes just kneading them together into a little sausage and then put them around the earphones. It'll be a total fiddle to begin with. I had an absolute nightmare trying to do this. It's not exactly the most simple process and it does go all over the place. After that, give your ears a good wipe and then basically put the earphones in. Press it around the edges so that it fits into the contours of your ear, and essentially just leave it there for 10 minutes to get the initial shape. And whilst the packaging said this could take up to 24 hours, when I actually used it, it took almost a week, which is absolutely ridiculous. Having said that though, when it does eventually harden, it's an incredible experience. The second you put these in your ears, you'll be amazed. All of a sudden, the earphones that fit pretty well before feel like a glove. The isolation doubles, triples. Even like a fairly average pair of noise-cancelling earphones will all of a sudden become as good as an active pair. It's really quite impressive. And this is like a double-edged blade because that extreme level of isolation means you can actually hear tiny nuances in the music. If you actually do this on a really good pair of earphones, you'll be amazed at what it actually reveals. Bass lines become a lot more punchy, and finer details, things like the mid-tones, things like the guitar strums in the background, all of a sudden they come to the front of the music. So all I have to say, this is an absolutely fantastic product and it really does bring a lot to the music listening experience. There are a couple of things to note. First of all, the drying time is long. It doesn't look particularly good, and it also attracts quite a lot of dirt. Now once it has solidified, you can obviously take it out and give it a wash, but that's just a bit of extra hassle that you have to deal with. But in summary, this is an awesome product and I can't believe no one thought of this sooner. Thanks a lot for watching, I'm Mrwhosetheboss, and this is